Hey Barb, how you doing? What's going on today? Just trying to get this, get the shares out. Know what I mean? Nope, nope, nope. You got your Christmas shopping finished? I'm waiting for a couple things to come back in, or to come back in, to come in, and then I will be done. Come on, fingers. Work. Seriously? Working on this wine bottle holster. Alright. Okay, almost there, I promise. What I really need to do is come down here about 10 minutes early and get a screen up. The only thing you like about Christmas is shopping for other people. I can understand that. I knew 99% of what I was going to get, and I had my Christmas shopping done in like an hour. So, alright, what was I doing? Excuse me. Alright, let's see here. Let's change up the camera a little bit. So we've gotten a lot done on this wine bottle holster. We're going to work on that tonight. See how it goes. And basically we're just going to finish up this bottom edge. I didn't see any mistakes that we have to fix beforehand, so... And I found my 16 gauge 5/16 rings. Didn't do a lot today. Went and did my Christmas shopping, and then had Chinese for dinner and watched Mandalorian all day. I'm trying to catch up. I finished season 1 today, and I'm going to try and finish season 2 tomorrow so that I can enjoy all the jokes and don't have to worry about people spoiling it for me. It's one of the rare times when I can do that. Most of the time, I don't stay up with cultural phenomena going on, so I've already heard about the end of something long before I ever get a chance to see it. So, hopefully finish up season 2 tomorrow, and then I will get to enjoy all the shock and surprise along with everyone else that's enjoying it right now. It was a pretty good day, you know. You'll have to wait until Christmas, and then I'll tell you what I bought everyone. I don't even remember what I got my kid. He won't be on here. I got him, let's see here, one of those crystal chemistry sets. Kind of grow your own crystal thing. I think he'll have fun with that. Oh, and some other stuff I don't even remember. He's got, I hate to buy him anything because he's the youngest grandson and he has a ton of stuff already. Staying up with modern culture, overrated. I'm just now catching up on Red Dwarf season 6 through 13. I don't even know what Red Dwarf is. It sounds like something I should know, but sadly, no. Sounds like a space show. And yeah, I agree. It's overrated. I don't do it often, but like, for example, when Avengers came out, like, I hadn't really been following along with what was going on. So I had to go rewatch all the movies. It's a British sci-fi comedy series from the mid-1980s. Yeah, you really haven't stayed caught up with, you know, pop culture or anything, have you there? When Avengers came out, right? Like, I'm going to assume everyone's seen it, and if not, you know, it's spoilers. I knew that Tony died when I was finally able to go catch a matinee. And I tried to get someone else to go with me, but no one was available. Right? So I went by myself. And had to, like, I knew Iron Man was gonna die. And it was still very upsetting, so. It was great at first and went into the toilet in season 7, but then it climbed back out and got pretty good again. That's pretty rare for a show to do. You know, once they jump the shark, writers rarely redeem themselves on a TV series. I read something Disney's making a reboot of Firefly. And I don't know, you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't know how I feel about that. On the one hand, I would love more Nathan Fillion playing Captain Mel, and on the other hand, I'm just, you know, you quit the MCU when you found out about Loki. What did you find out about Loki? Now I'm curious. That he has like horse children or something? Tom Hiddleston. Or do you mean when you found out about him dying? You couldn't handle it. Ah, yeah, about him dying. I thought you had some, like, dirt on Tom Hiddleston. I was ready to listen to your gossip so hard just now. What do the tabloids say about him? Yeah, that was the sad part. But now they're making a TV series about him too. So, I don't know. I generally don't make a lot of time for TV, so But I did really enjoy The Mandalorian was one of the shows I really enjoyed last year. Like Stranger Things, you know. I enjoyed that too. And I make time to watch it every time it comes out. So, but, you know, I rarely do that with anything. Nathan Fillion in The Rookie is awful. I haven't seen it. Other than the whole Taylor Swift dating debacle, you don't know much about Hiddleston? You liked post-Ragnarok Loki a lot better than Avengers? I'm trying to think post-Ragnarok. I actually just watched Ragnarok the other day with my son. Daddy, let's watch The Lightning Thor. Okay. I can hear my laundry going, and my son was just playing the piano. He's got his little song he made up. It would be more enjoyable if he didn't press down on the pedals to get all the reverberation throughout the entire piano for the entire time he plays. Try to give him to lift his feet up a little and give the piano a break. And it's like, but Daddy, it sounds so much better. Okay. Loki changes a lot in Ragnarok. He learns and grows a great deal. Yeah, I can see that. Some character development there. Hey, remember how I couldn't find my stash of 18 gauge, 16 gauge, 5/16 stainless rings? They were right there. That's how far away they were, holding up my tablet. That's how organized I am. I better put these over here just in case I need them. And then just completely forget where I put them. I hear that's a good way to banish something forever from your life, is to put it away in its proper place, and then you'll never be able to find it again. Avengers Loki is just bitter and crazy. I can agree with that. Alright, where are we at there? So I had adventures in shipping issues. I had adventures and shipping issues to deal with this morning, right? Like, I probably have a couple more orders still out that didn't get ordered until like early December. But, most stuff gets delivered and I never hear from the person again. Or I'll get like a thank you and a picture. But this was that the order had been marked as delivered and nothing had shown up at the person's house, right? So they were very upset. So I put in a note, a request to the United States Post Office down in the state where this person was, asking, where this package was. And they called me back within a couple hours, and by the end of the day, her package had been restored to her, and all was well with the world. And I was actually quite pleased about that. The guy from the USPS said that it had been delivered to the wrong house, and they would go and collect it and get it to her. So that restores some of my faith in them. over the years, I've had several issues, but yeah, I thought the Porch Pirates got the package. You know, I'd just written it off as one of those things where I'm just going to lose out on some money, which sucks, but it is what it is, you know. It comes with the territory. Not everything's going to go perfectly. But, you know, more often than not, everything goes fine. Compared to some of the outright nightmares I've had with shipping, this one was fine. And with a happy ending, I'm okay with it. These rings are getting slippery. Okay. So, tomorrow I'm going to wrap presents and work on stuff, hopefully. I'm on call all week, so a few more rows, you'll have 5 completed squares. 6 will be halfway. What are you making? I think I've asked you this before and you've told me. A fake tartan scarf. How fake can you fake tartan? How unreal is it? What's up, Justin? How you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm busy. Got to get the work in while I can. Because my current job allows me to drop my kid off at school, pick him up from school, but it detracts from like working 8 hours straight. So I'm often working until later in the evening than I would like because I got to stop and go get the kid, or dropping him off takes time, or I'm out in the middle of nowhere and do all my driving. So, I mean, I don't stay up too late or anything. Sipping expensive bourbon, enjoying the night. Nice. Right on. Actually, I'm going to call you because I have some questions so that I can figure out how this is to be carried. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. If I remember. If you remember, call me tomorrow. But you're drinking bourbon, so, you know, I won't hold you to it. And I have a terrible memory, so hopefully I will remember to call you sooner rather than later, because we're getting to a point where I'm going to have to figure out how to attach this and put, you know, some kind of strap on it. I have some ideas running around in my head, but I'll call you, and then I'll make it after I figure out what I want, what you need. Expensive bourbon. I'm not a bourbon fan. Don't get me wrong. I wouldn't turn down a bourbon if it was offered to me. But it's like scotch, you know. I drink cheap beer. That's about all I can handle anymore. Oh, what a night. Got a song stuck in my head. Okay, so this has been interesting, right? I generally have a repetitive thought that, like, permeates itself into my brain. You're a pro, you don't remember? All right, buddy, call me tomorrow, for sure. Right? And whenever I'm weaving, I just think about this one thing over and over and over. And a lot of times it'll be like something embarrassing I did as a kid. Sometimes it'll be like a certain person I'm not particularly fond of. And I don't know why my brain fixates on this one thing when I'm weaving. But as I'm sitting here weaving in front of people, that's really gone away, like, a lot. So I don't know what causes that, but I find it interesting. And now, of course, as I try to think of an example to share with you of something my brain fixates on while I weave, I, of course, cannot think of something. Of course. Why would my brain allow me to provide you with an example of what I'm talking about? Of course, the instant I turn off a camera, though, a memory will pop up and be like, that's what I should have told you guys. But it's weird. And it happens when I'm mowing the lawn, too. Right? Like, my brain's just, like, at rest doing this non-thinking thing, and it defaults to these strong, generally negative memories. You know? It's weird. At no other time, except when I'm doing something monotonous and repetitive, does my brain do that. So I don't know. It's a clump of goo with electrical signals. Who knows why it does anything? not me. These rings are dirty. I'm going to have to tumble this a little bit once it's all done. Alright. I haven't tumbled anything in a while. I went through a bunch of stuff really quickly, right? And it's so nice because it got stuff so clean, it was ridiculous, right? If you make chainmail and you don't have a tumbler, right, and you're not ordering high-end rings from like Josh Dilberto or that's not the bag I want. We've got mail, hyperlinks, you know, anybody other than the ring lord that washes their rings, you know. People, it's funny to watch because, you know, back when I was getting started, right, the ring lord was it. And I think that their quality was a lot, what's the word I'm looking for? Their quality was more accurate. Like, better's not the right word. Maybe better is the right word. Their quality was more consistent, I think is what I'm looking for. And since the founders are not there anymore, and people are stepping up to create specialty rings of their own, you know, customers are realizing they can get, you know, clean rings that they don't have to tumble, that are ready to go out of the bag. And I forget where I was going with this, but I had a point at one point. Oh, it's gone. Oh well. Once upon a time, TRL was more consistent than they are now. And other ring manufacturers have stepped up, and customers are stepping away from the ring lord, you know, when once it was like the only manufacturer on the internet. You know, as far as I know, they had quite the monopoly. We're just zipping these two pieces together. Maybe the point is TRL better wise up, or they're going to lose their customers. I mean, they'll always have, right? They'll probably always have like wholesale pricing over everyone else. I don't think anyone beats that. I think everyone just shoots for having a higher quality ring. So I'm sure they'll always have a market. But yeah, a lot of people go searching for nicer, newer things. You know, and the quality of stuff that people are turning out now, you know, individual people, not like buying containers full of wire type businesses, but people who run stuff out of their house, you know. Let's see here. I can count at least 2 in my head that started up just recently. So good for them, you know. Hopefully they can turn a profit and be successful in spreading the good word of chainmail throughout the land. Because chainmail is a global phenomenon. Because we're going to make it one. All right. Good night, Barb. Have a good one. And, you know, I don't know how to make it a global phenomenon, but, you know, I'm damn sure going to try. I think everybody should try chainmail at least once. And here's another thing, right? Like, a lot of people have. I can't ever go to a Renaissance festival without meeting someone who says, oh, yeah, I did that once. Or my dad did that. You know? And they've got no idea of things like Mail Artisans International League, where all the weaves are, the Ring Lord, where all the different ring variations are, that you can, they've got no clue that you can make chainmail out of anything other than, you know, some rings you wind at home and cut yourself from some wire you get from, you know, Hobby Lobby or Home Depot or whatever. I think that issue would be mostly self-solvable you know, if if mailers had advertising, I think we could add a ton of people who would love to do something like this. I think a big part is people don't know that you can do all the cool stuff you can do with chainmail, like, at all. And then they see it and their creative juices get flowing, and so I don't know. I could be completely wrong. Chainmail is one of those things where the learning curve's fairly steep but short, right? Like, you get to a point where you can branch out on your own with your own ideas fairly quickly. There we go. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? Haven't been saying anything for 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know what they don't know. And until, like, you know, I started making chainmail at a young age. But had I known about it, I would have started making it much sooner. I think I would have. Almost done. With that part, anyway. You know, the whole World Wide Web. And I think that the art of chainmail would be well served by having a larger audience. For people to learn how much effort goes into making a piece, how much time goes into making a piece, how many different materials you can make stuff out of, and the quality of those materials. And I think once people get the concept that it's fairly easy to get started, then I honestly, I think that people would really start taking off with it on their own, right? It's just like getting them the information that it exists, you can make it, you don't have to just sit there and watch it in the movies. What is my most favorite piece that I have ever made? Let's see here. Let me go get one of them. Alright, cameras don't pick up dust, so I won't wipe these off before I show them to you. Let's see here. Probably this top. This is, I have no idea how many rings, right? Couple thousand, 22 gauge 1/8 rings. See if I can get Frank up here, get a better picture. All stainless steel, 22 gauge 1/8. See here, it's strips of GSG mixed with woven together with interwoven 4-in-1, right? Like that strap is GSG, and then the bra is I think, let me see here, European 6-in-1. That was one of the larger pieces I made. And this right here, This is a 44-ounce beer stein. You put beer in it. And I got this at the Texas Renaissance Festival. And it was one of my very first pieces. And I forget the name of this weave on top, but it's... I don't remember what it's called. I know the name of the person who designed it. Thanks, buddy. It's not insane. I promise. I'm sane. But the full-size shirt that I did for a friend of mine using that same pattern, right? That one was quite insane. So let's see here. The center here is all Japanese 12 and 2. Oh, and the top and bottom are called Rondo. Right, and it's a combination of 16 gauge 5/16, 18 gauge 3/16, and the really small rings are 20 gauge or 22 gauge 1/8. I don't remember. Rondo and Japanese 12 and 2 to cover the beer stein. I have had a lot of good times at Renaissance festivals with this thing. It's gets a lot of compliments, and it holds a lot of beer. And the fun part is it's always a race to the bottom, right? Because it doesn't hold in the cold very well, so you got to drink your beer fast. I have a whole lot more. Let's see here. See if I can get this on any of this on camera. All right. If you look above, let's see here. Hang on. If you look above the guitar cases, you'll see a bunch of little bottles on a shelf, and that shelf runs the length of my basement. And I have, I think, 20 bottles now that I've done. Some are good and some are not so grand. But they were all fun. All right. Yeah, I could remember Rebecca's name. I couldn't remember Rondo. What did you miss? Where someone asked me what my favorite piece was, and I said it was probably this one. Hi, Tara. How are you? Oh my God, my son is stomping around upstairs. I may have to go deliver a beating. Dude, that kid has been cooped up for too long. I tried to get him out of the house today. Wanted to take him shopping. Didn't want to go. It's all right, dude. Thank you, Tara. All right, let's get you guys back on the work cam here. Alrighty. Yep, wanted to get him out of the house for a little bit, and he did not want to go, but I think tomorrow is going to be a day spent outside. Sorry, son, I don't care how cold it is, but you have too much energy to throw fits and stuff, and time for you to enjoy nature for a little bit. Don't even start with me, kid. Go upstairs. What? I'm down in the basement. Every stream, I swear.
Daddy?
What?
Mama said after I ate my chicken and noodles, I ate a popsicle and some chocolate.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't!
Okay, go upstairs now.
I did not!
I am streaming.
I did not do that!
I am streaming. Go upstairs.
Yesterday. On the 18th I did that! On the 18th I did that!
Go upstairs right now.
I was doing it.
Go upstairs. Go
I
upstairs.
wanted to give me dessert.
Huh? No.
Why?
If your mom said no, then no. Go.
No, she said
I have people watching me work on the computer. You cannot be down here. This is not an emergency. Get upstairs. Now. I'm spanking butts. Okay. I apologize for that delay. Every night, man. Your chainmail blanket is fantastic. Now, you probably can't post a pic in the chat, but yeah, it sounds exactly like your son. I didn't get a popsicle. Okay. I'm going to put a lock on the basement door. It's fine. I'm sure none of you guys mind the interruptions. They'll get better as he gets older. The pandemic is tough. It's tough on everyone. Isolation's a torture tool. And forcing it upon a population is really just not a good idea. The drug use and suicide rates are through the roof, and it's just not good for anyone. You have 3 kids? Yeah, I could understand why you haven't started streaming. He'll be fine. And the stream will go on for now. Right? Like, generally, he is in bed by this time. And so I don't have to worry about him coming down here. But it's the weekend. And so he gets to stay up on the weekends. Which may change after tonight. 14, 5, and 3, all girls. Whoo hoo! All right, bro, I'll talk to you later. Call me tomorrow. Florida's in really bad shape? How do you mean? Because of the lockdowns? Did they do any lockdowns? Or you're just talking about the suicide rate or the drug use? What's bad about Florida? Your post office is nice. I was telling some people the story about the Florida post office person I talked to earlier. No, everything is wide open. Everybody is sick because there are no lockdowns at all. Okay. I find that interesting. We have a bunch of lockdowns, and we keep getting told that our hospitals are going to overfill and, everyone's going to die. Hadn't happened yet. We have an emergency hospital that's seen 135 patients since it opened up, and none of our hospitals are full. It's a tricky subject to talk about. Because on the one hand, I have my opinion, and I'm sure that's... What's the word I'm looking for? I don't believe that my opinion is widely held, right? And also, this is a chainmail show, so talking about serious issues, I don't know. I'm not convinced it's a good idea. Try to avoid flaming people, getting an audience too excited about what I have to say about things. Unless it's chainmail. Because if it's chainmail, then I want people to get very excited about it. You know what I mean? Chainmail in the pandemic, that's how we met. Aww. Okay, I think I've gone too far. Yep. I did not start this stream. I know a lot of guys started streaming because they were locked inside, cooped up, and didn't know what else to do. So they're like, screw it, I'll start streaming to hang out with my friends or whatever. Right? I've only been at this since October. This was... I didn't start planning on doing this until I don't know. When did I start planning this? I think July is probably about when I started thinking about streaming. I was looking to make content for my website, and what better way to do it than record it while I talk to myself, You know, and sometimes awesome people like you guys show up and have a conversation with me, so I'm not sitting down here losing my mind. So, unlike the pandemic streamers, this content actually lands on a web page outside of its streaming platforms. To be used as like blog content. We'll see if it works, you know. I've enjoyed myself so far. And, you know, enough to keep doing it for a while. Okay. Half Persian 4 and 1 is Super Zen for you. And JPL 3. You get tired of Byzantine? Oh man, I love Byzantine. I've done a lot of Japanese 12 and 2, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite or anything. I think it's very useful in a lot of ways. But like my motorcycle vest is all Japanese 12 and 2. I don't make a lot of JPL. I made a bunch of it to use up some rings I had. But then I never did anything with it. And so those rings I've slowly taken it apart piece by piece. And use those rings for other things. Trying candy cane. I've done one piece of candy cane. And for the non-mailers in the audience, these are all chainmail weave names. If you're wondering what we're all of a sudden just randomly blabbering on about, these are all different patterns that mailers use to make different stuff. All right. Okay, we're just got to put this together real quick and we'll be done. Right. Nope. There we go. Well, we'll be done with this part anyway. Holy comments, Batman. Trying candy cane, can't get your fingers to cooperate. Got into the Viprous weave recently. JPL is too AR sensitive, and I hate when it's wrong and it slips out of a pattern. Absolutely. You have to admit, you do like the waves where you can watch TV too? The weaves. Oh yeah, where you can just sit there and weave? Certainly. It's been wonderful to watch the ring suppliers evolve and grow. Yeah, and disappear and crop up. Did I end up sourcing a spring? No. I have a thought on that. There's about 20,000 people in the world that do it for a hobby. That's probably about right, right? I wouldn't think that that's too far off. Oh, I've made a mistake somewhere. Problem is, uh-oh, what have I done? This is a mess. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of chainmailers in the world. There's just not. Believe me, I wish there was more. There are a lot of people who like chainmail, though. Who don't know that, you know, it's something they can make in their free time. Who would love doing it, right? It's tactile, it's sensory. You get a finished product when you're done with it. You've accomplished something, you know? How many sell and how many make a living? Very, very few, right? Someone posted about sharing ring sizes and weaves in one of the groups today, and there's a lot of answers to it, and I have my thoughts on this, which are that essentially, Of course, right as we finish it up, I realize that we've gone one too many. Okay. There's not a lot of chainmail artists in the world, period. Right? 20,000 people is like what? 0.001% of the population of the world? It's infinitesimally small, is my point. And people have this idea that, you know, they've come up with this weave, they worked really hard on it, and if they share it with everyone, everyone's going to steal their weave and make millions of dollars of them, leaving them in the dust. And they don't, so that stops them from sharing their hard work, which, you know, if you've taken the time to learn or develop or innovate a new weave, you know, you don't necessarily just want to run out there and share it with everyone who you view as your competition, right? But the likelihood of someone taking your design and, you know, making millions of dollars off of it is slim to begin with. Right? And it's really all just in people's heads. Also, the chainmail community is very good about policing up people who claim to have innovated stuff. You know? So before anyone gets any ideas about going and claiming they made something, you know, There are plenty of people in the chainmail community who track all this stuff. Or keep an eye out for it all. You know? So, there's not enough chainmail artisans in the world to begin with for any of them to be making millions of dollars off of any of their designs. Much less something they steal from someone else. So, that's why I share weaves and ring sizes and everything else in the hopes that everyone learns something, has something to take with them. I'm missing a ring somewhere in here. Is that it? Did I do it? Did I do it? I think I did it. Okay. Now for this side. Alright. Okay. Uh-oh. How did that happen? Y'all seeing this? The bottom's wider than the top. I wonder why. That's weird. That's okay though. Maybe it's okay. Theoretically, it should be the same number of rings, but it's like tight up here, super loose down here. That is the weirdest. Now the question is, does it matter? I don't think so. It's a little wonky though. And I'm curious as to why. Puzzling. Very, very puzzling. You ask a lot of questions and chat up. Lisa, Eric, and Neil from Brilliant, yeah. And me. Yeah, Rona screwed this year. But good job selling at small events. Heck yeah. You make more of your full-time job than making mail, so it's a hobby. Me too. Used to work at the Ritz-Carlton in the Caribbean. That's cool. Knowledge should be free. Skill is earned by practice. People do claim innovation. I know a guy at the North Carolina Ren Fair who claims to have invented dragon scales. Yeah, okay. The idea of making millions of dollars of bracelets make your hands hurt. That's another thing, right? Like, time and energy are scarce resources that people don't have an abundance of in general, right? No one's going to crank out 150,000 pieces and sell them for $5 a piece, and make $500,000 in a weekend. It's just, it's not going to happen. You're finally able to convert AWD to SWD and substitute fractions now. Good job. Unless you're smelting the alloy in your wire, you were down to share metal ring size, weaves, gauges, etc. Yeah, good. I love to see others continue the creation, to see the passions turn into reality. Who did invent Dragon Scale? It's probably on the mail, listed on the Mail Artisans International League website, I would imagine. He's only been mailing for 3 years, but he invented Dragon Scale? Oh, okay. He has the need to float his own boat? Yeah, I mean, people talk themselves up all the time. Does the count around the top and bottom match? I don't know. I'm not worried about it. It's just a little weird that it came out that way. It's got to go over, right? Like, this was theoretically the bottom to begin with, right? And all of this is going to come up to, about right there, right? And be pulled shut with a line, to a leather cord to hold the bottle in place, right? I don't mind that it's loose necessarily. I'm just, like, the ring sizes aren't, I guess they are that significantly different. They're different batches of rings. I didn't think they were that significantly different, but I did the same weave. Blowing my mind, though. That's okay. I don't care. We'll see what happens. Add a drawstring or a little ring in the back for some supporting thing chains. Yeah, the weaves on top and bottom match. I'd like to know too, but I'm not going to sit here and make you guys suffer through me figuring out what happened here. Right? Like, we couldn't, my inclination, right, is that the rings on top are just 1.5 millimeters larger than the rings on the bottom. And that is why the top is bigger than the bottom. It almost has to be that. Okay. So, I mean, if it's not that, trying to figure out what it is on stream while you guys, sit here and stare at me would be too much neglecting of the audience that I'm not going to do tonight. Yeah, I'll count it out, like, later. I'm not worried about it right now. Yeah. It'll be a whole lot more difference. So you asked me about if I'd gotten one of those springs. No. But here's an idea that I want to do, right? Like, I want to wrap the tailpipes on my motorcycle. Okay? And so we'll make the wrap, right? And then we'll bring it down over the end, and then we'll put one of those springs in to hold it tight like it does on the bottles you showed me. Are you following along with what I'm saying in my head? So I think that's a nice way to get the weave closed around the end of the tailpipe without having to like tack weld anything. So the spring will retemper over reheating. So if it gets heated up by the exhaust, it's going to be problematic. Is that what you're saying? You'll lose spring and stretch if you do that, if you heat it up that way. But how hot is exhaust? It's not hot enough to... I don't know if exhaust gets that hot. Right? Like I know the pipes do. I know they get pretty hot. I mean, the temperature of the exhaust goes over 600. I mean, you foiled my plans. Curse you. Yeah, I know the pipes get hot enough to burn the crap out of your legs, right? I've had it happen. But... And I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand that the exhaust is hot too, but is it hot enough to ruin the temper of a metal? It's fine. We can always just, like... On a static piece like a tailpipe wrap, you wouldn't even have to use a spring. You could just use a wire or one big ring, right? So maybe we won't use a spring. Maybe we'll just use one big ring that's really close in size to the diameter of the tailpipe. And that way we won't have that issue. Good call. We'll get to that at some point, right? The bike's sitting in the garage. I'm not riding it right now. It's too cold. Okay. I'd like to start taking pieces off of it and getting them wrapped. You know, and then put them back on before I can ride again. I think that would be an ideal goal. And then maybe one day I'll make enough money to have the vinyl wrap I want done on it. A screw-type metal band clamp. Yeah, something like that would be nice. So that you could have some play in the wrap. Right? And then tighten it up over the end of the tailpipe. Oh, wait. Remove what if you change pipes? What do you mean? I have Vance and Hines on my bike, so I want to keep them for a while. You mean it would be easily removable if I used one of those devices you mentioned? Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Your brother-in-law has 6 motorcycles? I'm a little jealous. See how many I've had 4 motorcycles so far. Never all at the same time. And only 2 ever ran really well. The Honda XL350 that was my dad's that I got running for about 5 minutes, which was fun. Tons and tons of work put into getting this bike up and going after sitting for years, right? And it worked for about 5 minutes. I had a Honda Shadow 750 that ran for like a month and a half, maybe. Then I had a Harley Sportster 1200, and all of these were over the course. You know, they were many years apart, right? I've got a Road King now. So parts get moved, and new ones added, and stuff gets broken. The one piece to open to remove the sleeve and replace it to a new pipe would make it easier. Yeah, absolutely. You got an 89 Yamaha 750. Right on. I figure between my vest and some chainmail pieces on the bike and then the eventual vinyl job, I say vinyl, I don't even know if it's vinyl. The eventual wrap job that I want to get. You know, I'm gonna design a chainmail print and have a automobile vinyl wrapper person put it on the fenders and the tank of my bike. So you just got 40 inches of snow? Yeah. That'll put a damper on things. It will, it will. My riding season's over for another 3 months. 4 months. Might open back up in March. I don't even want to say the S word for fear it might attract the S word. So, a 4-gauge stainless Byzantine kickstand welded together would be sweet. Yeah. I know of a guy who was doing something like that for a mailbox post. Just making very large rings and welding them together. But I don't think his boss let him finish it. Yeah, just make one giant chain. Speaking of giant chains, I've got their garage door springs. And I put them underneath a bonfire for several hours, like almost over 12 hours, in order to soften them. And they're in the shed, and we're going to, once it warms up a little bit, we're going to get the angle grinder out and cut some rings out of them. There won't be very many rings, but we'll figure out a way to get some rings out of it. And they're probably 2-inch rings. And probably like a 4-gauge. Yeah, about 2 inches in diameter. And probably about a 4-gauge wire, I would think, if I had to guess. So a hacksaw, it may make a neater cut and less curve and space to fight with, but this is just for fun. Just to make a big chain out of them. So I don't know how much more energy I'm willing to put into making nicer rings out of them, you know? You have them on your garage too? Yeah. I asked the guys who did the garage door opener replacement spring thingy, if they had any more, and they sadly did not have any more rings to, or any more springs to give me. You know, if you could get your hands on a bunch of those and put them in a kiln for a couple hours to soften them up. I don't know if I have the energy to sit there and hacksaw through a bunch of stuff. Right? Like, you're absolutely correct. It would make a nicer cut, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if we get to it. Trampoline springs. Now, don't you make a bunch of your own rings? Like a bunch of your own rings? Yeah. I made a European 6-in-1 shirt out of 14 gauge galvanized steel wire where I hand cut all the rings. And it's probably like, I probably cut like 60,000 rings. I don't know how many rings are in the shirt, but it's heavy as hell and completely unwearable. But that was the last time I made rings for anything. So I don't have any interest in making my own rings. You know, just maybe for a little bit for this one project, but it's not a matter of can I do it, it's that I know that I don't want to. Even if it will look nicer. I'm not convinced that it looking nice is necessary. I just want to screw around. Not pour a ton of time and energy into it, you know. 95%, about $400 worth of rings last 2 months. I have a 20,000 ring shirt. .16 gauge Galvi. This is your first shirt? Yeah. My first shirt was galvanized steel as well. I'll never do that again. Little did I know. And that's the thing too, is like, I know a guy who makes beautiful galvanized steel rings. He tumbles them all, polishes them up, right? Makes them look real nice. And he makes shirts out of them. I don't know if he still does it, but he made a bunch of shirts. He was out of Seattle. But the issue with galvanized steel is that it stinks. Right? I think people would be more inclined to wear and use a chainmail shirt where you don't have to make all your own rings and it doesn't smell nearly as bad. Going back to my previous iteration on how to make chainmail a global phenomenon. You love your angle grinder? We have one. Cutting rings with an angle grinder seems sketchy. I absolutely agree with you. Don't try this at home, kids. I am a professional. Yes, cutting anything with an angle grinder is sketchy. You know? It just It's the nature of an angle grinder. Plenty of people wear copper and copper stinks. I mean, that's a fair assessment. But it's got the healing properties. I guess they're fine with stinking if it has healing properties. You know? Medicine tastes bad. It's how you know it's good for you. Copper stinks. It's how you know it's good for you. I don't know. Yeah, cutting metal period can get pretty sketchy. Wear your eyeglasses and safety gear, kids. Please. We don't need any more pirates. Yeah. And tarnishes, and the tarnish gets on your skin. Or you have an allergic reaction to the coating. Or, you know, a dozen of other issues. You know, but copper and magnets and becoming one with the world's magnetic field or something. Oh, you know what I should have... Oh, it's too late for that now. I was going to say I was... Okay, so I am putting on either side of this interwoven 4-in-1 on top, right? I've got the 16 gauge 1/4-inch rings that I'm putting on right here. And yeah, your personal protective equipment. I'm wondering if I take it off and just attach it straight to the 18 gauge 3/16, if that'll pull it in enough to make it, you know, to reduce the disparity between the top and bottom of these pieces, right? I think that that's something worth chasing. Right? Like, I know I just sat here and put all this to, you know, put this end on, right? But it might be worth it to take it off real quick and attach a little bit smaller ring in there. Excuse me. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to try that. It might not work. It might not. But I think we're going to try. Let's see here. Oh, 1 hour and 35. Man, time flies when you're having fun. So I want to say thank you to everybody for coming out tonight and hanging out with me. I do appreciate it. All right, be sure to go check out MailleWerX.com for all your chainmail themed accessories and apparel. Lots of good stuff there. Lots of good stuff coming out in the next year. We got people that got their blankets today that were super happy. People that got their boots. The boots are awesome, by the way. Very true to size. Excuse me. So I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow night. And then I don't know if we'll do a Monday night stream again. It all depends on me getting my work done, having some family time, and then maybe being able to stream during the week. All right. So come back tomorrow for more adventures in chainmail, making chainmail a global phenomenon. The responsibility starts with you and me and all the chainmailers of the world who want to make it a global phenomenon. You don't have to participate if you don't want to. Speaking of participation, if you are planning on entering the MailleWerX Christmas contest, your decorated chainmail ball ornaments are due December 24th, and we will have a vote on the Christmas Day, and then we'll make the announcement Christmas night. All right. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. You guys rock. I will talk to you later.